You know that feeling when you're about to buy a projector for the office and the whole team keeps asking, is this really worth it? Will it work in our tiny conference room? What if we end up with a picture that looks like it's from the early 2000s? I've been in that spot more than once, scrolling through endless specs, watching demo videos, and trying to picture the device actually hanging on the wall while people try to follow a presentation. Before I spent any money, I wanted to make sure the model I was eyeing would actually fit the space and the way we use it day to day. Link is in the description if you want to check the product details on Amazon. The Epson Brightlink 575wi is the kind of projector that shows up a lot in school tech budgets and small business procurement lists, mainly because it promises flexibility, a 720p native resolution, a 16:10 aspect ratio that's a bit wider than the old 4:3 screens, front and rear projection options, and an interactive surface that lets you write directly on the image. Those sound great on paper, but the real question is whether those features translate into a smoother workflow when you actually set it up in a cramped meeting room or a bright classroom. Let's start with the setup. The Brightlink 575wi is designed for UHE, ultra-high efficiency, which means it can produce a decent amount of light while staying relatively cool and quiet. In practice, that's a big win if you have a ceiling-mounted unit in a room where the HVAC already runs loud. I've seen it installed in a 20-square-meter classroom where the projector sits on the back wall, and the teacher can flip the lamp between front throw and rear throw without having to move the whole unit. The rear projection mode is especially handy when the room layout has a whiteboard directly behind the screen. You can keep the projector hidden and still get a clear image on the board. The interactive feature is another selling point that gets a lot of buzz. It works with a pen or even a finger, letting you annotate slides in real time. For a teacher who wants to solve a math problem on the fly or a trainer who needs to highlight parts of a diagram, it eliminates the need for a separate whiteboard and a projector. In a recent demo at a corporate workshop, the facilitator used the interactive mode to draw arrows on a sales funnel while the audience followed on their laptops. The latency was low enough that the pen strokes appeared almost instantly, which kept the flow natural and avoided the awkward pauses you sometimes get with older interactive systems. Now, here's where the practical side gets a little tricky. The native resolution is 720p. That's fine for most presentations, spreadsheets, and standard definition video, but if you plan to stream full HD movies or show high-resolution graphics, you'll start to notice the softness. The 16:10 aspect ratio gives a bit more vertical space compared to the typical 16:9 widescreen, which is great for documents and web pages. But it also means you'll have black bars on the sides if you feed it a 1080p source without scaling. In a classroom where the teacher mostly shows slides, that's not a problem. But for a home theater enthusiast looking for crisp 1080p or 4K content, this projector simply isn't the right match. Brightness is another factor that often flies under the radar. The Brightlink 575wi's UHE lamp is designed to be efficient, but it doesn't reach the same lumen levels as higher-end laser projectors. In a dimly lit room, the image is bright enough to be clearly visible, and the colors stay fairly vivid. However, if you try to use it in a space with lots of ambient light, say, a conference room with big windows and daylight streaming in, you'll have to draw the curtains or lower the blinds to maintain a good picture. That's a trade-off you need to weigh against the lower operating cost of the lamp. Who should actually buy this? If you're a school district looking for a reliable interactive projector for multiple classrooms, the Brightlink 575wi checks a lot of boxes. Its rear projection capability, interactive surface, and decent efficiency make it a solid choice for environments where you need flexibility and don't need ultra-high definition. Small businesses that run regular presentations, training sessions, or collaborative meetings will also appreciate the ease of switching between front and rear modes without a major hardware overhaul. The price point is generally lower than laser-based alternatives, so you get a functional interactive system without breaking the budget. On the flip side, If you're a home cinema fan, a design studio that works with high-resolution graphics, or anyone who needs a projector that can dominate a bright, sunlit room, you'll probably be better off looking elsewhere. The 720p native resolution will limit your detail, and the lamp's brightness may fall short in well-lit spaces. Also, if you don't need the interactive pen feature because you already have a whiteboard, or you prefer using a separate tablet for annotations, you're essentially paying for a capability you won't use. A